So I'm going to try my hand at a reaction video this time around. I've got 3 different Toyota review videos performed by 3 different channels queued up here. And we're going to take a small little portion of each video and see how well they convey the information to their audience. I do use car review channels to see what the competition is up to, but I never actually use them to see what they say about Toyota vehicles. My name is Manny from Manny Drives, and if you haven't come across me in this channel, I talk mainly about Toyota vehicles here, so please feel free to take a look around. I'm actually a factory trained Toyota specialist, which means I know a little bit about Toyota vehicles. And those are the cars I like to sell, but I'm not here to sell you on the vehicles. We're just here to have some fun. Now, I do want to let you know that this is the first time doing this, so if you have any recommendations, suggestions, give me some feedback in a family-friendly way in the comments section below. So let's get started with Motor Mouth, and we're going to be talking about the 2022 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid review. Let's get started.
Let's move to the inside now. I would call this a practical interior, not necessarily stylish.
I call it industrial. It's kind of industrial grade interior. You know it's going to hold up. You know it's going to look like this 10 years from now, but boy, Toyota, with a facelift, could you have added a little bit more panache, a little bit of something?
Pizzazz.
I like the look of the interior.
Yeah, no, it's basically the same in here. You've got a standard 7-inch touchscreen with the available 8-inch and 9-inch, depending on the trim. There's a partial digital driver display here. I think that the center console is well laid out. You've got a traditional shifter, which we like, and hey, big knobs and buttons, you can't miss them in here.
Do you notice anything about me over here, Andrea?
Zach can't stop complaining about how he is towering over me in the passenger side.
So usually I make the joke that I'm up here in housewares. I'm now way up in bedding in the department store. Like my head is like, I am kind of sitting up straight, but my head is right.
There are very few Toyota vehicles that allow for a height adjustable front passenger seat. Can you guess one of them in the comments section below?
Here at the roof, the glass roof is right there. And Andrea, it looked like this is the weirdest thing.
Now, Zach does have a long torso, but still, I mean,
here's how I have to reduce the headroom issue. I have to go like this. Hello. See, I told you I'm in bedding.
Here's the good news. The top limited trim now comes with a power passenger seat with a height adjustment. But we don't have the top trim. We've got the XSE model with the technology package, and guess what? That doesn't come with a power passenger seat.
Well, that technology didn't make it to over here.
So yes, they're correct. In the RAV4 lineup, if you get the top trim limited, you will have an 8-way power adjustable passenger seat for the front, so you can electronically adjust the height. I do wish that Toyota could bring a ratcheting system for the rest of the trim levels. I have to say that that's probably one of the FAQs that I get, and that's been for years because Toyota never really offered that up. And I don't know why they do that. I don't know if it's because the Lexus does that and they don't want to blur the lines too much. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I wish that Toyota could offer that up. And maybe if you guys, tell Toyota head office, like, hey, you know what? We would love to be able to see, a height adjustment, even if it's a manual height adjustment mechanism for the RAV4. They might listen to you.
Now, the interesting thing is, why can't they just do the old manual ratchet system? It was Volkswagen that pioneered that years ago. You would ratchet it up and down. Sure, it's not the most glamorous way to do it, but at least it can be done, because this is kind of silly, really.
Well, here's the kicker on this XSE model with the tech package. It actually costs more than the limited top trim, but you get less features. However, you get this sporty look.
And I like the color.
Okay, I don't want to go any further, but they are correct on that last point. So if you were to spec out in the Canadian market the XSE with the technology package, it would be about $200 to $300 more than the top limited trim level. Not sure why that is, but that is the current case. So let's take a look at the next one, which is the straight pipes. And this one is worst feature ever 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross review. I hope it's queued up to that worst feature because I'd be a little surprised if it wasn't. Let's see what these boys think are the worst feature ever.
Normally, we don't really talk about subscriptions on this channel or subscription services. However, if you'd like to subscribe, now would be the time because this car actually comes with a subscription service. I have this key fob, doesn't say anything about remote start. However, if you hit the lock button 3 times in the appropriate sequence, this has remote start. On the website, on the Toyota website, it says that you need to have active DCM in order for that to actually function on your key fob. What that means is you get a free trial, I believe it's for 3 years, I could be incorrect, but from my research, I believe it's 3 years, that your key fob actually works for remote start. After that, you don't have remote start on your key fob if you don't pay for it.
So that one is actually, that would be negligent misrepresentation. In order for you to have active DCM, you have to have active connected services. But there are 3 different types of connected services. So one is the remote connect service. The second would be the Toyota Safety Connect service. And then there's Service Connect. And Service Connect on the Corolla Cross could be either 8 years or 10 years, one of the two. Let's go with the short form of 8 years. And basically, as long as that Service Connect is active, which you don't pay for, by the way, for those 8 years, you'll be able to use your key fob. And if you are someone that's thinking about getting a remote start, for example, if you just do the math, right? If you buy, like, say, a cheap remote start, they're probably going to be around like $200. A mid-range remote start would be somewhere around like $600, $500, $600. And then like the OEM Toyota ones will be in and around like $1,000, maybe $1,200, that kind of thing. So if we took the middle ground and just bought something for $600, well, the remote service is $10 a month, right? So that gives you 60 months, right? If you were to take $600 divided by 10, that's 60. So that's 5 years worth of remote start. And also, by the way, like, it's not just remote starting. Like, you can lock and unlock your doors. You can turn on your 4-way flashers. You can see whether or not your windows are open or your moonroof is open, which is great if you're on the 12th floor of a condo and you can see dark clouds rolling in and you're just not sure whether or not you closed your windows or whatever. You can actually open up your app and see that. And there's some other things that are in there that I don't have really much time to go into, but yeah, they're not quite right. After 3 years, you don't have to pay to continue with the DCM. As long as Service Connect is active, which is free, you'll be able to remote start with your key fob.
Yeah, so you should not buy this car because they're pushing weird subscription services like that.
Wait,
Wow,
I won't go
okay.
that far, but I think you should support your local remote car starter installation guy and just get one of those instead of this one.
Yeah, and if you do need to get one of these anyways, tsp.truecar.com if you live in the United States. Link in the description below and at the very end of the video.
If that's an affiliate link. I don't know about you guys. I know that, and I've heard from a couple different YouTuber car reviewers that they're, I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding with subscription-based features. I would like to maybe do a video and maybe just shed some light on the other side, because I actually think it's kind of a brilliant move on manufacturers to have maybe different tiers of features or a la carte features that you pay for by subscription. If you want to know why I think that way, let me know in the comment section below, and maybe if there's enough interest that's drummed up, I can create a video that addresses why I think that subscription-based features on a car is brilliant and that it's misunderstood. Anyway, enough about them. Let's go on to the Savage Geese. Hybrid better than the old V8? Well, I can tell you absolutely it is better than the old V8. It's got more torque, more power, and better on gas. Let's see what they got to say. I love how they have the truck on a hoist. It's like their signature here.
iForce Max Tundra. We're going to cover the highlights of the hybrid version of this instead of going over every little detail of the truck, because we're going to do a huge consolidated video when we get the TRD to talk about everything. But let's focus on the highlights first. The architecture.
TNGA-F, which is their new truck platform. It was first designed for the Land Cruiser, and it is a Japanese platform However, they did send 11 American engineers from the Tundra team to Japan to make sure that their concerns were heard when they were designing this platform, to make sure it would fit the Tundra and address the American customers' needs.
So Land Cruiser first.
Yes.
And then
I love that. I love that little bit of information to be like, yeah, this was originally designed with the Land Cruiser first, but they brought 11 American engineers over to Japan to address concerns they have, so that way they can make sure that this platform can be really well utilized for the North American market. I don't know if you're aware, but Toyota has actually consolidated like their world or global platforms. So I think there was over 120 different platforms for all the global Toyota vehicles, and now they're consolidating it down to about 7. So even though that they say that it is, with the Land Cruiser in mind, first, anything beyond that, like it's not to say that they're next to the best or whatever. It's just that each platform will be used for different vehicles within that platform dimension. I mean, they're all just as important, but at first, when they're thinking about the main dimensions, they're thinking about the Land Cruiser. Anyway, so it's interesting that they've brought in that piece of information.
and everything else was secondary, how they can modify TNGA-F to make a truck in the American
Everything isn't just secondary. They're all getting loved.
products or North American products.
The architecture, the platform itself is about 400 pounds and change lighter than the prior generation vehicle. And it's about 20% more rigid. So a lot of that NVH is being absorbed by the platform versus you as a passenger. The rear suspension architecture is also modified. It's now a 5-link. The shocks are moved outward. And they tried to make this feel more like an SUV when you're driving it versus a traditional truck. But they wanted to maintain some of that off-road capability, Mark.
Well, and the thing is they wanted it to, this was the perfect platform to do an adventure overland expedition to your local Lululemon. And that was what they wanted the Tundra owners to experience. Now, in terms of the capstone, the upper level trims, you do get load leveling or ride height leveling with air springs in the back of this. There's no air springs in the front. And again, it's about refinement.
So he points out that there's auto leveling air springs in the back, but they're not in the front. Well, yeah, because when you have a truck, like that's the bed and this is the front, and you put a load on the back, what happens to the truck, right? It starts to squat. So the front doesn't get affected with that load, right? So why would you put, an airbag or an adjusting suspension in the front? You want the airbags to inflate the rear, so that way it will level off the truck when it's met with a heavy load, like a heavy payload or a heavy trailer.
Trying to take trucks and turn them more into luxury products. So you're getting rid of the truckishness, the leaf springs, coil spring suspension in the back, like you said, 5-link, multi-link, and then aluminum knuckles, SMC bed with aluminum rail supports under the bed, so they're shaving the weight off in all these like strategic places.
Tundra owners are unique in the truck segment in that Tundra or Toyotas aren't sold to fleets. People who buy Tundras are typically families, and they're using this as a family vehicle versus like the F-150, Ram, and the other American trucks. Those were designed to both be sold to people, but largely to a lot of companies to use as service vehicles.
Makes sense. So let's talk about the big thing with the iForce Max, since that's why you're here. It's a hybrid Toyota truck. Now, It's not hybrid in the sense of Prius and...
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. I feel like they really do their homework and try to go beyond just the spec sheet and learn a little bit about some of the motivations behind why a manufacturer chose specific features or components or what have, and talk about the direction that the manufacturer want to go with that particular vehicle. Anyway, so thanks guys, I appreciate your time. What do you think? Should we continue doing these like reactionary videos like this? Maybe we could work on making it a little bit better, refining it, if you will, as as this is my first one. So again, please leave some family-friendly comments and suggestions in the comments section below. I will read them. And what's your favorite YouTube car review channel? Is there something that maybe I should take a look at? And is there a video that maybe you might want to suggest that we can review together? Yeah, and if there's enough of you letting me know like what to check out, then and we'll check it out together. So again, my name is Manny from Manny Drives, and thank you very much for spending your time here with me, and hopefully I'll see you in the comment section and the next video.